everybody. Today we're going to be starting a very fun vlog. I really enjoy doing these. I feel like they give me a lot of information as well, and they help save my wallet, which is kind of the point of these. So in this vlog, we're going to be reading our books that we got back in July in our book boxes. So we're almost caught up. We're in July. We are moving into October. So we're almost there. And what is it? January, March, August. August and September only have 4 books each. They are chunky. Oh gosh, Alchemize. Alchemize is 1,000 pages. Okay, you know what? Never mind I said anything, okay? I think this stack of 5 books is smaller, potentially, than just Alchemize, just in general. I think Alchemize is the same size as 3 of these books. So, doesn't really matter the number of books. It's the chunk. It's the chunk factor. Anyway, we're in July right now, and we're going to be reading the July books. So, the books that we're going to be reading in this vlog is this lovely little stack. So, we have Of Flame and Fury. This is the Owlcrate Young Adult book. We have the Illumicrate version of The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which is an adult romantasy, I believe. Then we have the Library Hellbore, which is the Evernight copy. This is a adult horror. Then we have the Nightblood Prince, which is I think it's a young adult fantasy. And then we have the adult Fairyloot, which is a Dance of Lies, which is adult fantasy. So I'm pretty excited about them. I want to make a bit of a prediction. I thought it'd be kind of fun to start making predictions at the beginning of these videos. And I think what I'm gonna do, Dance of Lies. I don't know about a Dance of Lies, because a Dance of Lies has a lot of like disability rep, which I think would be good, but I don't know if I'm going to make it through the book because of emotional reasons. So I don't know where I want to put that one. Nightblood Prince, I have DNF'd a book by this author before, so we're going to put this on the bottom. Then I think I'm going to go with The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I'm very hit or miss when it comes to romantasy, and I just haven't heard like the best things about this one. So that's going there. I think Of Flame and Fury will go next because I don't know anything about it. Oh, you know what? No, this is like Phoenix Riders. I think that sounds cool. We'll put a Dance of Lies under here like this. And then I do think my favorite is going to be Cassandra Caw, because I've liked everything, almost everything Cassandra Caw has done so far. So that is my potential ranking. And I think I'll like all of them though. Like I'm hoping that the Molly X Chang book, again, I DNF'd a previous book by this author, but a lot of it was to do with writing, and this is a sophomore book, so hopefully the writing has gotten better and the storyline and plotting and stuff has gotten better. So I think the one that we're going to start with though is Library Hellbore, because it's the one I'm most excited about and I really want to know if I like it or not. This is a 5-star prediction, I think. I'm trying to remember if I made this a 5-star prediction or not. It's like a 4 to a 5-star prediction. I'm expecting to love this book. I don't love the Evernight edition of this. I'm hoping I'll like it more once I read the book, because it is wildly terrifying. But yeah, this one is taking place in a kind of like weird school that I think is like this faculty. The faculty is trying to kill them. It's supposed to be like a really dark version of the Skull and Mant series, which is my favorite series of all time. With that in mind, I really hope that I like what's in here. So we're gonna get started with the Library of Hellbore, and then we're just gonna move through these books at a casual pace and see which ones that we like and which ones, hopefully we like them all. So let's get into reading the Library at Hellbore. I can't believe I already have an update for this video before I've even put the June video out. Like, I literally just found an update for my Influence series and for my June books, but I actually finished this one like immediately after finishing the last book for the June video, and I'm really mad. I'm really mad at myself that I didn't do updates for this book. Like, I'm so mad at myself, but I was literally on vacation and I was always surrounded by people, and so I don't like filming in front of other people. It's something I get really anxious about, and so I just didn't film an update for this one. But I finished this book. I could not put it down, but I had a roller coaster of emotions with this book. But I ended up starting with the Library at Hellbore. Still don't love this cover. I understand it more having read the book. I still just don't love it. I don't love it. I like the artwork on the inside now. Like, I understand the artwork on the inside now, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, but I still do not love this. I don't love this. I think something else could have been done with this. Again, I get it, but I still wish something else was done with this. It's just so monotone with the coloring. I do like the back a lot better. I don't know. I feel like a little something else could have been done with this one, but that aside, I did read this book, and before I give my rating, I want to tell you the roller coaster that I went on with this one. This is Cassandra Caw. Book box should never have a Cassandra Caw in their box. They just shouldn't. They shouldn't have it in there, because this author is 100% not for everybody. Like, this is a writing style that is either going to make you feel things you've never felt before, or you're going to hate it. And most people hate it. I mean, I think it's got like a 3.2 or something right now on Goodreads, or 3.3. And I get why, because I even struggle, as someone who is a huge fan of this author, like massive fan of this author, I struggled with the beginning of this one. One second I was hating it, one second I was loving it, and it was up and down for about the first half of the book, and then I was like, oh wait, okay, I'm in it. I'm in it. I get what's happening. It was just so convoluted and difficult to follow at first. But that being said, I finished this book. I'm giving it 5 stars. Is this my first 5-star of this series? Like, of these book box videos? Is it? I'm trying to think back, but like I haven't had a 5-star since May. I don't know if I've given a 5-star to a book box books in this series, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm giving this a 5-star. Is it really a 5-star? I am actually struggling a lot with reading this book, but because of how I feel and the fact that it's been 2 days since I read this and I cannot stop thinking about it, and part of me really wants to reread it, I think it's a 5-star. I think it's like a soft 5-star. Like, it's not gonna go in an all-time favorites, but there is something that like absolutely kicked my butt at the end of this book. I can't say what it is a spoiler, but the writing at the end of this book was beautiful. And once I understood like kind of what this book was, because that was one of the problems. It was very difficult to understand exactly what this book was. Like, what was the purpose of this book? Once I understood that, when we got to the end, I was like, oh, I get it. I love it. I get it and I love it. Amy, one of my friends, she actually sent me, she was able to get an ARC of this book. So I have an ARC copy and I actually have marked it up, and there were some beautiful quotes, like beautiful quotes. Again, sad girl quotes and I love them. That's why I love Cassandra Clare's writing. There's something, I don't know. It speaks to my soul, and I feel like that's why I love their books so much. So anyway, gave it a 5-star, ended up loving it. I can't really explain to you what this book is about. It's like a deadly education on LSD. I feel like that is the best way to describe this, because that's what it is. It's like a deadly education, but you're not focusing on the school, you're focusing on like a monstrous staffing issue. And instead of like the school trying to kill you, it's like the students are trying to kill each other and the faculty's trying to kill the students. So it is like, and it's gory. It is gory. I am so happy that I did not make this our book club pick. 100% was the wrong pick for book club. I don't think anybody would have liked this book. So I'm really glad we ended up changing it. I'm really glad I realized how gory it was before we got locked into that. So I think the Ghostwriter is a significantly better choice. Of course, I gave it a 5-star, but I don't think anybody else would have liked it or even finished it. So I did not want people to go out of their way to get a copy of this. So thank goodness we changed that. But yeah, 5-star. I loved it. Wild ride. That's kind of all that I have to say about it. I would not recommend this to anybody. Not a single person would I recommend this to. Because the one person I would recommend this to, she already tried to read it and did not like it. Actually, no, she did. She finished it, and I think she gave it a 2-star, and she's like the only person I would be like, yes, you need to read this because I think you'd like it. I don't know a single other person I would tell to read this book, which is so sad because I really, really liked it. But anyway, read this, 5-star, finally have a 5-star for this series. And I don't know what I'm going on to next. I think I'm going to start The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I think that's going to be a good palate cleanser after this, because this was very serious, very sad, very gory, very horror, and I love that for me, but I also need a break. I still need a break because I feel emotionally drained after reading that. So I think The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy will be next, but I'm looking at the other ones. We have A Dance of Lies, Of Fate and Fury, and The Nightblood Prince. The Nightblood Prince could actually be a really good option because I don't know, because I'm nervous because I did not like the last Molly X Chang. She's the one that had that controversy with her last book, but even barring the controversy, I just didn't think it was well written and I DNF'd it. So I am a little bit nervous about that. Those are our options. I am very excited. I think a lot of these could be really good. I feel like I want to take my time with this, but not too much time. Like, I want this to come out in September because we are behind. We are behind, and that was not the point of it. We're trying, We got a 5-star. We're having a good time. But anyway, that is the update, and I think we're gonna do Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, but I could update you on something else. You never know. So I ended up going with a Flame and Fury, which I wasn't expecting to pick up. I was kind of thinking that I was actually going to pick up A Dance of Lies, but then I saw how long it was, and I also realized that I had this from NetGalley as an e-arc, so I could read it on my Kindle at night, which just makes it so much easier to read. So I ended up picking this one up instead. This is following our main character, who is she's not a Phoenix rider, she's like a Phoenix tamer. Like, she's the one who actually owns the Phoenix, and she's taking care of it, and it used to be like a Phoenix that her grandfather actually bought to do this like conservatory thing, but now it's been switched to Phoenix racing. And that's kind of what this whole world is kind of talking about, is how these Phoenixes are hunted and used for these races, and kind of just they're like killed off during these races. So if you don't like animal death, there has already been a couple of Phoenix deaths. They aren't super like obvious, like they almost feel like the Phoenix didn't actually die. Like, it wasn't like on page destruction, rending awfulness. So I've been okay with it so far, because you guys know how sensitive I am to animal deaths. But the Phoenixes also just don't feel like pets, really. Like, at no point, like, it does not feel like a dog, it does not feel like a cat or anything like that. It feels like a wild animal that will kill you if given the chance. So that does help a little bit. I still don't love the deaths in it, but that is something to be worried about. And it was something that I was worried about when I picked this up. But so far, I love the writing. The writing is so good. Like, it's so good, and I am kind of surprised, because I was expecting it to be on the choppier side, because I do believe that this is a debut. Yeah, it is a debut, so I do have generally lowered expectations for debuts, just because like they haven't gotten used to their writing style, etc., and getting used to what they need to edit out. And honestly, what made me really think this was not going to be a good book was the cover. It was literally the cover. And I feel like that's a really sad thing to say, that a cover legitimately makes you think that the book is not going to be good because the cover looks lazy. So unfortunately, even if I love this book, I am probably not keeping this edition of it. I would go get a bookstore edition of it, because the bookstore edition is actually really, really pretty. And I think it's got like pink sprayed edges, and I really like the cover. So unfortunately, no matter, even if I give it a 5-star, if I give it a 1-star, we're getting rid of this book. So I guess that's already like an answer to one of the questions if I'm keeping their books. But yeah, I'm getting rid of this one, which makes me question everything about Owlcrate. Because if I can give a 5-star to a book and still not want to keep their edition of it, I feel like there's a problem. But anyway, like I was saying, this book is following a Phoenix tamer who is owning and operating like Phoenix racing team with one of her friends. And there's a forced proximity situation with the romance, and it's a lot about conservation, actually. Like, I feel like the point of this book is going to end up being like, these Phoenixes should not be captured, they should not be poached, and what this government and this island is doing is like really, really wrong. So I really like that, and I think that is going to be really interesting if it continues down that line and it doesn't just become a story about Phoenix racing. I feel like the interesting part of this book is the deeper side of this book, because I feel like a racing story has been done. I mean, of Monsters Born and Made, it's been done. I really like it. It feels like that. Scorpio races, it's been done. So this needs something a little bit extra to make it more interesting. And I think the conservationship and that kind of stuff is what actually is going to be like the interesting part about this book, and trying to figure out maybe how to release these Phoenixes back into the wild. Because we already just had a moment where we saw a Phoenix like not being controlled, and it was very different than them being controlled. So I am really curious about where we're going with that. So anyway, I am enjoying it very much. I'm gonna probably read it throughout today, just kind of lazily read through it. I'm trying to take my time with the books in this video, besides the Library of Hellbore, which I literally could not put down. But I am enjoying this. Like, I'm having good vibes. But again, we're only at about 55 pages, which I feel like is what happened with Air of Storms, where I loved the first 50 pages and then hated the rest of the book. So fingers crossed that does not happen again, but I am enjoying this, and I feel like that is a really great thing right now. Do you remember that time that I said I was actually enjoying a Flame and Fury? But it's only 50 pages, so it could change. It could be like an Air of Storms situation. Like, isn't that crazy? Wouldn't that be wild? If it was an Air of Storm situations where I really, really liked the first 50 pages and then the rest of the book I was like, this actually isn't very good. Well, about that, it's not as bad as Air of Storms, but that is why I am choosing to DNF. I am 33% in. I think I'm about 150 pages. Nothing has happened. Literally nothing has really happened. I struggled a little bit with my decision to DNF this. I actually didn't DNF this until I talked to my husband, and I was like, I feel bad DNFing this because there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just horrifically bored. Like, I have zero interest in picking this book up. It's been like 5 or 6 days since I picked it up, and I'm reading maybe 10 pages a day, and that's even a struggle to get through. I don't hate anything about it. I just don't feel any way about it except bored. And he looked at me and he's like, isn't the point of reading to have fun? And I was like, forgot that for a second. Honestly forgot that for a second. So unfortunately, I will be DNFing of Flame and Fury. And I'm happy about it now because I did pick up Night and the Moth to do our book club, because again, I'm really behind on that. And I'm already addicted. I'm already addicted to it. And so I'm like, okay, yeah. I keep forgetting what it's like to read a book that I really like, that I can't put down, that I don't want to put down, when I'm actively reading something I'm like not interested in. Like, you forget, like you feel guilty. You're like, oh, is this just me? Is this just me just reading this? Like, I'm just not feeling reading right now. And then you pick something up and you're like, oh, no, it's you and the book not working. It's you and the book not working. So I am putting down A Flame and Fury. I do think it's for, I don't know. I feel like if you haven't read that much fantasy, you might enjoy this one. If you're generally like a reader of other genres, you can probably pick this one up and it'd be very simple to read and a very good like introduction book. But because I've read so much fantasy, I feel like everything in this book is something that I've already read, and it's not doing it in an interesting way, like at all. So I just have no feelings about it, and it's going to be a situation of I'm going to read it, and then when I finish it, I'm just going to be like, okay, this is a 2.5 or a 3-star book, and then be done. So I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take a little break, read Night and the Moth, and then we'll continue. I think I am picking up the Nightblood Prince next. So I ended up picking up the Nightblood Prince, and this is supposed to be the point where I tell you what the book is about and how I'm liking it and like what's going on in the book. And honestly, I couldn't really tell you what this book is about. I just don't really see a point to this book. It's one of those books that's like, why was this written? Like, for what purpose was this book written? Because I don't see really a semblance of a plot. Like, that's what I'm struggling with, is I don't see a plot for this. So this is following our main character, Faye, and she is this girl who, when she was born, she had this mark on her head, and she was seen as the answer to this prophecy that was made, where the girl with the phoenix mark would marry an emperor, and they would be like the emperor of the land together, empress and emperor of all the lands. And so this emperor of this one kingdom stole her basically from her family and raised her in the palace in this secluded area with the future emperor, aka his son, the crown prince. So that's kind of like what happens before the story. And then when the story actually starts, they are like, they should be getting married soon. Like, they really should be getting married. They're about 18 years old, I think. And the emperor is really pushing for them to get married so they can get things going and he can secure this prophecy, because right now other kingdoms have actually been attacking them, / they've been attacking other kingdoms based on this prophecy. So the prophecy is like this big thing that's going on that everybody knows about, and they all want her because she supposedly, anyone that she marries who is a potential emperor, crown prince, will become the emperor of all emperors again, supposedly. So the point of this is I'm very interested because this is the Nightblood Prince, and I'm pretty sure I know who that character is, but like as of 230 something pages, he's really not in the book, which I find very interesting. You would think that it would be like the Phoenix Princess would be like the name of it, but that's not as cool as the Nightblood Prince. Maybe the second book, if there's a second book, would be like the Phoenix Princess. I don't know. So it's I can't tell you why this book matters, because the point is there's a war between all the different countries, and something happens and it becomes this war between 2 specific countries. And that's the whole book, is her kind of being wishy-washy about romances and what she wants and this war. And the weird thing about this book is it turns into like a random Mulan adaptation about 150 pages in, but it's only like that for like 20 pages. After the Mulan stuff kind of ends, which isn't a spoiler, but it turns into something else that is a spoiler, even though it's really easy to guess. There's like a scene that happens, but I don't want to say anything because it technically is a spoiler. But the thing that happens and what the other army is and what is going on just seems super out of place for this like timeline and this like vibe of the story. Like, it feels like a very old school Chinese mythology, and I don't know if this thing exists in Chinese mythology. I would have to look this up, but it's just, I would think a different thing would be used compared to what is being used. It just seems so out of place for the vibes of this story. So I'm not disliking it, but there is definitely some like, it's just weird. The vibes are weird. Like the vibes are really strange. And again, I don't see the point of this book. And that is definitely the most difficult thing that I'm dealing with right now, is I just don't see the point of this book. I don't understand the point. So I was going to DNF this. I actually got to about 30% and I was really like, I think I'm going to DNF this. But then I switched to the audiobook, and that has helped significantly with the reading because it's really not that long. So I'm already at 230 pages and I probably will finish it tonight because it, like I said, it's really not that long. I still don't see this being rated particularly high because I have a lot of problems with this book, but it definitely got more interesting at about the 35 to 40% mark. And I think I'm about 60%. I am on chapter 39, page 230. So I probably have about 100 pages left, maybe. Yeah, a little over 100 pages left. And it's just, it's weird. It's a weird vibe. I don't really know what's happening in the story. Like, I don't see the point of the story, but I'm at least enjoying myself with the audiobook. I think if I was physically reading, I don't know if I would have been able to continue reading it. But with the audio is really good. So I am having a good time with the audio. So I'm going to continue reading this, and I'm going to ponder over what I want to read next because I have A Dance of Lies and The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy left, and neither of them are on Kindle, which is kind of scary because I've gotten addicted to just reading on my Kindle. So I don't know. I'm going to have to see which one I think is going to like hold my interest a little bit more, because I am also working on October content right now, and that's kind of what I want to do instead. But I do need to finish this vlog like really soon because I really, really want to get to August books. Like August's lineup is amazing. It is amazing. I was going to wait to review The Nightblood Prince, but I did finish it tonight. It is almost 11 o'clock. I am very tired, and I probably am not going to pick up anything the rest of the night. I think I'm going to read, I've been trying to read one short story from These Dreaming Spires. It came out earlier this month, I think. It's the Dark Academia anthology that Olivia Blake is in, and I'm trying to read one story a day to get through it because it is an interesting compilation. I'm not the biggest fan of it so far. So I will probably read that tonight, one more story in that, but that's probably it because I need a break after reading this, unfortunately. I'm so sad. I am so upset right now because I started really enjoying this. Like after I gave the last update, I was starting to actually really get into it. I was starting to really like it. I was having some moments with the romances. I was like, oh wait, like this actually is doing something. It's kind of doing something. Still no plot. Really, honestly, no plot. Seriously. This is romantasy. This is straight up to me what romantasy is, where it is the romances are what is important and everything else kind of falls to the wayside, including the characterization of our main character, because honestly, she really didn't have a personality. She really didn't have a personality. She was a Bella Swan, if I've ever read a Bella Swan. She had all the boys obsessed with her for doing the literal least, like the least you can do, and she had these men fawning over her. And all of them were always like, oh, it's not just like about the prophecy, it's about just you're super awesome. And I'm just like, for why? Like, what's the reasoning? Unfortunately, this took a nosedive in the last 10%. An absolute, it dive bombed, and it feels like this author didn't learn that much from their last book. So this is the same author who wrote To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, which had the massive controversy of her writing a colonizer romance, I believe is what it was. I did not read it. I did get it in a box. I tried to read like the first chapter, and the writing was god-awful. Writing is way better in this. Still a lot of problems. There are still some issues. So depending on how people read this, I do think some people are going to take this differently depending on how you read this. I definitely read some non-consensual things in this. To me, there were some non-con issues in here, which I really don't like, and it really gives me the ick. And the character was basically saying that I'm trying to do it without spoilers, but they were saying that they wouldn't be able to influence them if there already wasn't like a small feeling of that in there somewhere. And that just gives me the major ick. Like, that gives me such an ick, especially how it was written in here. It felt gross. It felt really disgusting. And so I that did not feel wholly consensual to me, so I really didn't like that. I accidentally started going into spoilers, so let's talk about spoilers really fast. It's really not that big spoilers, just the little tiny things if you don't want to know anything about the book. And that's pretty much where the book went downhill, because then our other main love romance interest, whatever, becomes a genocidal warlord suddenly, where he kills like 50,000 people. Like 50,000 people. That's crazy. And like nothing happened afterwards. Like nothing happened afterwards. I don't know if we're supposed, like, our main character was a little angry. She was a little angry and supposedly is like never going to talk to him again. But I really don't buy that. I don't buy that, because she seems like she wants to talk to him still. So we have a non-con main character who is also a warlord and is also going after other countries and attacking them for literal no reason. He gave no reasoning. It was just he wants to. And I will put a spoiler tag below for this, because it did turn into like semi-spoiler ranting, but I don't think anybody should really read this. But I will put a little spoiler thing before I started talking about this. A little late to say it now, but there will be a little spoiler part. So yeah, he is also like going after other countries and destroying other countries just because, and doesn't give a reasoning. He's just like, okay, and she's still like into both of them. And I'm like, okay, so both of our romantic interests turn out to be disgusting people, and we're supposed to be rooting for them? Like, I wish she would have just killed both of them at the end. Like, that's kind of what I had hoped. I would have been mad still. Like, what's the point of this? Because this straight up has no plot. It's not like we have a super strong female lead who can do everything on her own, and she has these men as, like, her side pieces, and she ends up killing at the end because they're terrible people, and the rest of the book would fall apart if she would have killed them in this, because there is no plot. The plot is the romance. They are the romances. And because the whole point of the war that they're going to is because she's pretty. Like I said, it's a Helena Troy situation. So this, oh my God, I think I have to give it a 1. I'm sitting here like, what do I do? But I'm like actually so angry that I wasted my time reading this, because it is actually really bad. The writing is pretty good, I will say. Her writing did get a lot better, but there's just such goofy shit happening in this book that, like, the first 40% was so boring I almost DNF'd. Then you had a really good middle section that was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. There's still no plot, but we're getting somewhere. But then you have the last like 20%, which is ass. It's like actual ass. And I don't, like, part of me is like, do I want to try the second one? If any part of me wants to try the second one, I have to give it a 2-star. And I can't just give it a 1. But this book makes me so angry. And I feel like if I'm angry, it should get a 1. A 2 is like, I didn't like it. A 1 is like, I didn't like it, and it's pissing me off. It's rare to like make me this angry reading a book. And I feel like I'm angry. I'm angry about what happened. I have to give it a 1. I'm giving it a 1. Okay. I am giving this book a 1-star. We're gonna settle on a 1-star. This could go up based on, God, I don't even know if I can. It was trying to do a recent kind of situation of like a bad character, but like I feel like this character really is bad. Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked because I'm trying to like explain what the hell this author was thinking when she was writing these characters. And I honestly cannot think of what she was thinking when she wrote these characters. They're so bad. Yeah, it's a 1-star. 1-star, worst book of the year. It's not worst book of the year. I have worst books, but it is on my worst book of the year list. So I will be adding this. I am very sad because this is such a pretty cover. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it at least for a couple months. If there is a second book, I am tempted to read it to see where the hell she decides to go, because I have no idea how you can possibly redeem these characters. Oh yeah, and there's like a very graphic sex scene in this. for a young adult book. For a second, I was like, wait, did I get like, did this actually come in the adult box? Like, did this come in the adult? No, this was in the young adult box. This is a young adult book. And it was actually very graphic for a young adult book. Like, I'm cool with sex scenes in young adult books, especially if they're older, but this was pretty graphic. And I feel like the only reason it wasn't labeled as adult is because there was only one scene that it happened and it wasn't multiple scenes. But I feel like romance books have that sometimes where it's just one scene. It wasn't the longest scene, but I mean, it was longer than I thought it was. I thought it was going to fade to black, and then it just kept going. It just kept going and kept getting worse. And I was like, oh, we're doing this. I had to skip some of it. If I have to skip some of the sex scene, you know it's really supposed to be an adult book. So anyway, I'm giving it a 1 star. Oh, should I give it a 1.5? Because there was that little... No, I'm giving it a 1. It's a 1. See, I'm trying to talk myself up. Man, I wish I DNF'd this. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it is so pretty and I would have questioned myself. I really would have questioned myself DNFing this one because it's so pretty. This is a disaster. Okay, I'm going to try and read one of them. I don't know. I might try the first chapter of both of them. But it's A Dance of Lies and The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I don't know if I can deal with an enemy storyline, because that's what this was. I am so behind updating you guys. like I'm so behind updating you guys because I was gonna update you at 50% into Dance of Lies, but I am that far into Dance of Lies. I only have this much left. I'm loving it. I'm loving this book. I'm loving this book. This is everything that I want from a fantasy book. It is, I mean, this is definitely fantasy. This is definitely fantasy with, it's not like too much fantasy. Like, there's not like a ton of magic or anything like that's happening. It's just like a fantasy world. There's not like, it's not heavy magic. It is definitely more politics, intrigue, and a lot of fantastic disability rep. I am so excited about that. So this is following our main character, Vasily, who is this dancer, and a situation happens that leaves her body basically disabled. She cannot dance the way that she used to, and she is chosen by the king for reasons to be a spy as a dancer at this like court thing. So it's all about her working for this king that she does not like, that she has a lot of problems with due to reasons. And it's about dance, and it's about disability rep, and it's so good. And the romance is really good. The romance is good. It is incredibly slow burn. This whole book is very slow. It is a very slow build, very well plotted out world. This is one of the best debut fantasy books. I think this is a debut. This is one of the best debut books, not even just fantasy books I've ever read. Like, it is that good. The writing is amazing. The world building is amazing. The characters are so unique, and like every single character is very different and well thought out. Everything is so good in this book. Like, I'm so excited about it. I definitely would recommend this one so far to readers who enjoy slower paced books. Would not say someone who is mainly a romantasy reader necessarily to read this either. Potentially, if there's a second book, I could see that happening, because there's definitely going to be a second book. Like, there is not enough that has happened in this book to end this series. So there's definitely going to be a second book, I hope. So I would not say, as of currently reading this one, that a romantasy reader only would enjoy this. It's definitely fantasy first, world building first, politics first, then the romance becomes more important towards the end of the book. So that's personally what I prefer, and I'm having a great time reading it. And again, if you're a slower paced reader, you like slower paced fantasy books, this one also would work for you. If you like very fast-paced things where you're just kind of like in stuff immediately, this is probably not the book for you. It is very much a slow build up to all the things that are going on. So I'm having a great time with this. That's pretty much all I have to say about it, because it's just a great time. I only have 100 pages left. I meant to update earlier, but I just couldn't stop reading it. I have 100 pages left in this, and I will be finishing this, and then we will be moving on to Irresistible Urge for Your Enemy. But this right now, depending on the ending, this could be a 5-star. This could be a 5-star. And that would be 2 5 stars in one video, which would be amazing. So I'm really, really hoping, especially after how the Nightblood Prince went, that I end up loving the ending of this. But in other news, very exciting news that I thought I would share in here, I did end up finding a copy of Barnes & Noble's edition of Night and the Moth. I got it for very reasonably priced off of, I think it was either Mercari or Pingo. You kind of have to like, if you really want something, you gotta stock. You gotta stock Mercari and Pingo for deals And that's what I did, and I managed to get very, very lucky, and I got a copy of this. I am so excited about it. I also managed to nab a copy of the Waterstones edition for $15 because it was a damaged copy, but I don't mind a damaged copy because books are books. The sprayed edges were completely intact, and the spine was completely intact. It was like smushed stuff like here and on the bottom, and kind of just crunched a little bit. But this and this was totally fine. So I was like, yeah, 15 bucks for the Waterstones edition. Yeah, I'll take that. And that'll complete my collection for The Night and the Moth, because I also may have ordered a German edition. I've never done that before. I swore I was never going to do it if it was in a different language, but I've never seen a prettier cover. So we're going to see what happens when that arrives. Supposedly that is coming between like the 10th through the 17th. Anytime around then it's supposed to show up. So we're going to see how it shows up and what it looks like, because it looks stunning. So I'm really hoping I like it. And I really hope I like the second book of this series, because that would be really uncomfortable. And the very final thing that I want to show you, I was going to unbox this on camera, but I think I just want to unbox it myself. As everybody knows, at this point, Taylor Swift's new album has come out, Life of a Showgirl. I did not love it when I first listened to it, except for like 2 songs. I'm not going to talk about it extensively here. I'm sure everybody's sick and tired of talking about her album, but I like a couple songs. As I've listened to it more, I'm becoming a bigger fan. But I like the album enough that I'm very excited. I pre-ordered these. And I did buy the CDs, which I also did just order the CDs that came out today as well. There was a surprise drop of like acoustic versions, so I did also get those. So I did get all of these. So I have that one. I have this one. I got this one. And they have like a little trinket inside. I'm excited to see that, and like the artwork. I really want the artwork. And then my favorite cover. I love that cover. Like, if they had this as a vinyl, even though I don't have a vinyl record player, I would have gotten this as a vinyl. So anyway, that's everything that I have to show you. Oh, and the artwork on the back is so pretty too. I think my favorite artwork for the back though is this one. So this is my least favorite front cover. My favorite back cover, which of course that is the way that it goes. So anyway, that is everything I wanted to show you. So anyway, that is the update. I have 100 pages left. I will probably be finishing it either tonight or tomorrow. So hopefully it's a good update. I'm really excited about it so far. Thank goodness, apparently, for... Oh, no, you can see it a little bit. I was gonna say, no, you really can't see it that much. Let me see if I turn the light on and you can see it. Okay, I have finally finished A Dance of Lies. I have not read, like, the extra bonus chapter at the end that Fairyloot provided, because I figured I would just review the book for what it is. I'm gonna give it a 5-star. I really was fighting with myself this morning about whether it was a 4.5 or a 5, because I didn't love what happened at the... Well, actually, I loved the twist. Did not see the twist coming. That was crazy. I should have probably, but I didn't see it coming, and that was a crazy twist. I'm very, very happy with that. The very, very end, like what happens going into the next book, because there's 100% going to be a second book. What happened to then go into the second book is where I kind of have a problem, because it's happened in many books that I've read, and it's never my favorite thing to happen. So I think it does set up a really interesting, good next book. It always does, but it's always something I'm kind of like, ugh. It's gonna be annoying to deal with. Like, it's gonna be so annoying to deal with. But the way that they did it and the way that they dealt with the romance in this, I think that the next book is gonna be very tense. And I do think the next book is gonna be more on the heavy romance side, because it has set... This book is very much mostly fantasy. Like, it is so heavily fantasy with, like, there's romantic inklings throughout the book, but it's like the same way that the first, like, Throne of Glass was, where it's like, yeah, the romance is there and it's like you're kind of teasing with it, but it's not the point of the book. And that's kind of what this is. But I can definitely see the second book, the romance being the point. Like, there's still going to be a ton of political stuff going on, but that is going to be the point. So I like, but looking at the body of work of this book and how good it is, how much I just wanted to keep reading it. I read 60% of this book physically, and then the last 40% I did get on, actually not even all 40%, but the next 40% I didn't realize, I've had Everend for a while because I'm kind of stuck, because I keep getting books and getting credits, but I didn't realize that you could run ebooks I don't know why that like went over my head. And so they had this and they have the Irresistible Urge for ebook. And so I used my credits for those instead of buying the books, because that's what I had been doing if I wanted to read at night, because I don't like using a little book light and it hurts my eyes. So I use normally my Kindle, but everyone is on my phone, but that's fine. I can just like stare at my little phone, which probably isn't great for my eyes either, but I do read faster on a digital device. I really can't say anything more about this because it just was that good. I loved the ending minus the little thing going into the next book, but like I said, I think it could set up the next book to be really, really good based on hopefully how she does what she's doing. And I loved the rep. I loved the characters. We got to know so many different characters. This really was phenomenal. Loved this. I gave this a 5-star. I can't believe this is now my second 5-star in this video. That's crazy to me. Like, actually kind of crazy. So this, I think, in what, Hellbore? Is this the same video? How long have I been working on this video? Because I read that at the beginning of September. Yeah, I think it's Hellbore, A Flamin' Feather, or Flamin' something. I don't, God, I didn't like that one. A Flamin' Fury, Nightblood Prince, once. Oh my God, it's either I hated it or I loved it right now. Oh no. I'm really hoping that we end up loving the Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. So that is what we're moving on to now after we have finally finished A Dance of Lies. But this is an interesting one. This is an interesting one because there is some discourse about this book. I feel like I have to kind of mention it a little bit. And it's complicated because I don't really understand where people like stand on it. I feel like this is a really nuanced, is that the right word for this? Conversation around these fan fictions being turned into books. I personally am not great. Like I didn't read really fan fiction growing up. Like that, I just wasn't a fan fiction fan. I like the source material and that's it. Like I'm just not a fan fiction girly. So for me, I just like don't recognize in my brain that fan fiction like exists. So people have to tell me that this stuff is fan fiction because I had no idea that The Love Hypothesis was a Kylo Raylo fanfic. No idea. Would have never seen it. Like I read the book and I was like, no idea. Would have never guessed that. And then I think I had Rose in Chains on pre-order because I loved The Thrashers by Julie Soto. And then I was told about it, that it was a fan fiction and that they were marketing it as that fan fiction. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird and really like kind of dumb by the publishers. I think why this one and why Alchemized has escaped more scrutiny compared to Rose in Chains is that those two, whoever published those two, this one and that one, definitely tried to separate the newly published book from the fan fiction. Like they didn't straight up go, hey, this is Harry Potter fan fiction. They didn't straight up say that, but they did with Rose in Chains. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about fan fiction being turned into books in general. I think it does feel just kind of weird, like not just Harry Potter, but like Raylo fan fiction, Twilight fan fiction. It's just like 55 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey. I just like, I don't know how I feel about somebody writing a fan fiction based on these characters and then it being basically bought and returned into like other media. Like that feels kind of weird, right? Like I feel like, well, I guess it depends. Because if it's really good and a publisher is like, oh, just like change a bunch of stuff about this and make it its own stuff. The problem is there's a bunch of people that have read it already, so like they know the connection. That's the problem, is like, you know, there's a connection between the book and the fan fiction. So it's like, I personally would have never known if not for people telling me about it. I don't know how I feel about it because it seems like a little bit of like an intellectual property issue with like the original. Like I guess if I was an author of a really popular book series and someone used my characters to write an original fan fiction and then got like a big book deal on that by changing the character names, I don't know, it might feel a little bit strange. Like it might feel a little bit weird. I don't know. I am still uncertain how I feel about it. I definitely don't think that you should market it as the original fan fiction. Like Rose in Chains should have never marketed it as a Harry Potter fan fiction. I think that's really weird to do that. I don't think it worked very well because the author is now in a lot of trouble, while this one and Alchemized are popular everywhere. So I don't know where you're supposed to like draw the line. Like, is it the marketing? Is it like the subject material? Like, is this like really far away from Hermione fanfiction? Is that what you call it? Hermione? Hermione? Is that right? Fan fiction? Like, is it, like, does it not represent, like, anything at all? So that's what I'm, like, confused about. Like, where is the line when it comes to fan fiction, specifically by an author who you don't want to support? Like, that's why it's so weird, because, like, none of the proceeds are going to the author, but is this making people then go read the original subject material? I don't know anyone who's going back and reading the original subject material after reading these. Like, I don't know a single person who's doing that, but that doesn't mean it's not happening, like, off social media. I don't know, because I feel like if you're off social media, you probably have no idea that these are Harry Potter fan fictions. So I don't know. Like, I don't know where the line is, but apparently people seem to be okay with this one, and they're okay somewhat with Alchemized, but not Rose in Chains. So I don't know. I don't know where the line is, but I figured I would bring it up because it is something that has been talked about, but I personally have no idea, because number one, I don't know enough about the fan fiction world. I don't know enough about, like, the publication world. I don't know. I don't know where you draw the line. And, like, I would like to see, like, it would be interesting to see numbers for, like, the publication date of these books and then correlating with, like, Harry Potter sales. That would be an interesting line to look at, like, sales pitch, because if they're not going up based on these releases, what then? So I don't know. Like, I don't have an answer to this. It seems like publishing is definitely leaning quite a bit into the fan fiction thing. I don't think they really were with Love Hypothesis. I think that just worked out, but after that happened, that's when, I mean, this is the year of it. I mean, you have Rose in Chains, this, and Alchemized. All three of these are Hermione fan fictions. So I don't know. I don't know. I think publishing needs to, like, decide how they feel about that, and I think everyone needs to decide how they feel about that. But the thing is, my brain is not going to read this as a Hermione fan fiction. It's just not, because again, I just don't read fan fiction. I don't think about it. So this is just going to be whoever these characters are. So it's in my brain, but I'm probably going to forget about it immediately. So we're going to see how this is, just based on, is the writing good? Is the book good? That's kind of just what we're going to go by. So yeah, that's the little spiel beforehand. I don't know if any of that made any semblance of understanding, because I don't understand. But I figured I'd bring it up because it has been brought up in discourse. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping it's great. I'm hoping I like it as much as A Dance of Lies. I am a little bit nervous about that. So anyway, that being said, I will say, when you guys are talking about this one in the comment section, be nice to each other. I would love if people have opinions on it, on discourse, on why you should or shouldn't read it. Go ahead, but be respectful to how other people also are phrasing their opinions on stuff. Like, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion on things. A discussion is fully welcome, but if there's any fighting or anything like that in the comment section, it's going to be deleted. I don't think there will be. I feel like you guys are really respectful of people's boundaries in reading. So I don't want to see any fighting. I don't want to see any fighting or name calling. Be respectful in the comments, just in case there is some discourse about this. But you are allowed to, like, debate and stuff. That is welcome. Debate is important. I feel weird because I'm not used to being serious. But I figured I would have to be a little bit with this. So anyway, we're now going to move on to the Irresistible Urge to Fall for Our Enemy. All I know is it's got some STEM rep, which I love. It's an enemies to lovers romance, which I also love. There is apparently some content notes. Okay, it's not that bad. I was scared for a second. I'm also a little scared because there's a guide in the beginning. There's a guide for how small this book is. Like, this is a 340 page book, 360 page book, and there's a guide. Like, I'm a little nervous about that. So we're gonna try this one out. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully I end up liking it. I am 150 pages into, what is it called again? The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I don't understand why titles have to be so long. It's just so long. This could just be called Enemy. Like, great title name. Anyway, 150 pages into this, and I am listening to it on audio. I originally was reading it. I have some extra Spotify hours, so I'm gonna listen to it on audiobook, and I am enjoying it on audio. I do have some problems, but there are things I like about it. Like, this is a flawed book. This is a flawed book, but there are some things that I enjoy. but I also am having some problems with this. So basically we're following our main character, Orion? Don't know how to say her name. But we're following a main character who is part of this like healing quadrant of people, and our other main character is, can't say his name either, but he is part of like the assassins, and they are very much at odds. Healers, they believe in healing. They really don't like the dark side of these orders, and he is having issues with something that needs to be healed, and it specifically needs to be healed by her, but she has zero interest in helping him. So there's like exchanges and things going on that make it so that she will help him because of certain things happening in the background. The thing that I love about this book, because I'm whatever on the romance right now. I just don't really care about the romance right now. What I like is the plot. The plot's actually really cool because I think it's kind of, it is doing a little bit of commentary on COVID and the government during COVID, which is really interesting, but without it being about COVID, because I don't like to read books about COVID. Instead, it's using this like childhood pox situation where children are having massive outbreaks of pox, and it's very deadly. And so she is a researcher, and I don't know if she's a doctor, but she's a healer. She's a healer. She works for this like institute and who she's a part of, and she helps to heal the pox and is trying to find a cure for it or a vaccination for it. And she also like is into other things as well. So she is like the best at her job. So he obviously wants to be healed by her specifically because of what he has. So the world is, yeah, it's dealing with this like massive outbreak, and it's talking about how it's spreading more. And this person knows what they're talking about. This person has studied public health because they specifically talked about an issue that we had during COVID that we didn't have during other pandemics. So when you look at the COVID-19 pandemic, it spread so quickly and so efficiently because of how our traveling works now. But when you look back at 1918 influenza, you didn't have the same traveling capacity that you do now. So that still spread and was absolutely devastating, but it did not spread as quickly as COVID did because of how we travel and plain use, having access to everybody. That's a very interesting thing because she brings that up in here, how they use these waystones to travel, and they didn't have those back when they had a previous outbreak of this pox. So it did not spread. It was able to be contained where it is. But the government is refusing to shut down borders and stopping the use of waystones because it'll harm other things like commerce, etc. So similar situation with the world and the governments in the world. They refuse to shut down borders in countries because it would cripple the economy, etc. So it is a complicated subject. I am not going to say my opinion about it. I just like that this is having commentary about it. I think that's really interesting that it is taking a public health direction, because oftentimes when you read books that have scientists in it, etc., it is mostly focused on finding the cure and is mostly focused on healing everybody. This is focused on vaccinations, which is what public health is focused on. The idea of, so I have a master's in public health, if that wasn't obvious and you guys didn't know already. The point of public health is to prevent rather than treat. So doctors are there for treatments. Doctors are there to deal with the situation at hand. Public health is there to predict trends and see where things are going and to disrupt the situation before it becomes a problem. So public health is all about vaccinations and staying healthy, keeping yourself healthy so that you don't get sick. I love that it's talking about that specifically because it's talking about vaccines, not necessarily curing stuff, but finding a vaccine that prevents, my dog is snoring too, that prevents this illness from getting worse and spreading, and eventually that can lead to the eradication of certain diseases because everyone is vaccinated. So cool. So cool. I love that aspect of this. I love the science side of this book. It is so interesting and really good. So I'm having a lovely time with the plot. Now, the banter between the main characters, not my favorite. There are some very cheesy, there's some like, I think there's a couple poop jokes in here, which feels very apt after me having just DNF'd The Devils. It is nothing to the extent like what The Devils was, but there are some jokes in here that I'm just like, There's also a lot of random sex jokes, and I'm not a big fan of those. Like, they just went to a brothel in this, and there was just some very body jokes that like, they're just not for me. They're not for me in a book. I just don't like them that much, but they're not constant. So, and I love the other plot that's going on, so I'm able to kind of ignore that side of things. So I am enjoying the romance. it's just not really what I'm reading this book for at this point, because it's fine. It's fine. I don't really have any feelings either way about it. It's a little cringy. It's a little cringy. So I am enjoying the plot though. So I'm very mixed on this book right now. I just showered, and that gave me some time to come to terms with the fact that this video is over and it is finishing with a DNF. I ended up getting to about 49, I think it was 49%. 49% of this book, and I could no longer go on. And I'm very sad about it, because I feel like the backbone of this story, like with the vaccines and with the medical stuff and with her story, I think is really interesting. But oh my gosh, I have the same complaints in this that I had in the Devils. And I feel like it would be unfair to the Devils if I just ignored it in this book and just like continued on reading this and just pretended it didn't happen. So I feel like it's only fair to be like, yeah, this had the same stupid jokes that the Devils had. If you haven't watched that review, I talk about how much I hated that book because of the really bad jokes. This was a similar situation. There were a bunch of like butthole jokes and a lot of penis jokes, and like they were in a brothel at one point, and it was just like, it felt like a bunch of teenagers running around just like making the dumbest jokes possible. I really didn't like this. I really like, oh man, I was like okay with it. I was thinking it was gonna be like a 3. Like during our last update, I was like, okay, there's enough of this that I'm like, okay, it could get a lot better. The ending could be really, really good. See this being a 3. So I was willing to continue on. Literally 20%, I think, 20% more into this book, I was like, it's not gonna be higher than a 2. It's not gonna be higher than a 2. I would be surprised, shocked if this got higher than a 2. I don't like the romance. I didn't like their banter. I didn't like the way that they spoke to each other. I didn't like pretty much anything about their interactions with one another. I didn't like how it was even written. This book was also hella confusing. And this is where I think the fan fiction part comes into play, because I do think that the author tried so hard to remove this from a Harry Potter setting. And I think they almost tried like too hard. So everything was super complicated, and you can tell like sometimes something would not like translate. Like you would go from one page to another and you're like, I lost the train of thought here. So you'd have to kind of go back and like try and rework what the world building is. And it was very confusing, overly complicated. And again, I don't know if that's because in their brain, the original story was just based in the Harry Potter world. So they didn't have to do a ton of like, they didn't have to world build really, probably in the original fan fiction. Again, this is me not having read the original fan fiction. I don't know. I don't know what happens in the original fan. I don't even know what it's called. And I have no intention of reading it. So this is just my critiques based on what I think potentially happened between writing the fan fiction and turning it into a book. But yeah, it feels like there's just a lot of backstory missing. And I think that's because they probably didn't build up a world in the original story. Because if you're reading Harry Potter fan fiction, you probably know Harry Potter. So that was a big problem. That was a big problem. I got lost quite a few times. I was confused many times. There definitely, like, you could tell this was Harry Potter fan fiction, I will say. Like, I was reading it and I was like, yeah, like, I'm picturing those characters. So if that is a problem for you, like if you don't want to read anything Harry Potter adjacent, I would not pick this up, because like there are these like messenger creatures, and I feel like they're probably like the Patronuses from the Harry Potter series. So it's like things like that. Like it was like you can kind of tell. And I feel like potentially like they worked for the Ministry or something like that. Organization that like the Hermione character works for feels like the Ministry, or potentially St. Mungo's, the hospital wing or whatever. So if you don't want to read Harry Potter, I wouldn't read this, because I do think it feels very Harry Potter. Like you can tell this was originally fan fiction. So yeah, I struggled a lot with the writing, struggled with the relationship. I really thought I'd be able to disconnect my brain from like the original source material. Nope, I couldn't. I really couldn't. And I think that did a disservice to the book. Like I feel like I wish this author would have just done like a total rewrite, because I feel like there are sections that were just like translated. I feel like they should have just taken the original idea of the original book or the original fan fiction, whatever, and changed everything about it and kept like the general storyline the same. So that's just kind of how I feel about it and how I think it could have been a lot better, but it was mostly the really bad humor though. The really bad humor is what really got me. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. So this is a DNF, and that brings us to the end of this video. So let's talk about what we read in this vlog. And you know what? It was very cut and dry. It was very, very cut and dry for a video. So we read these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. And it was a very hit or miss video, literally hit or miss video. So first up, we ended up reading Library at Hellbore, which was a 5-star. This is a Cassandra Caw book. Love Cassandra Caw. No surprise this was a 5-star. Then we attempted to read Of Flame and Fury, and this ended up being a DNF probably, I think. Like, I don't remember how far. This was a long time ago that I tried to read this. Night Blood Prince, this was a 1-star. Had a lot of problems with the romance. I don't think I'll be reading. I'm keeping it because I want to try the second book, but otherwise I don't think I'm going to be reading a Molly X Chang book ever again because I've already DNF'd one. Then we had our other 5-star, which is A Dance of Lies. It was so good. And then, like I just said, we DNF'd The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I will maybe get that title correct eventually. But yeah, I think this is the most disappointing of the series because I think it could have been really good. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We are going to be moving on to working on our August books. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're speeding along in things. And so we have 4 for August, but they're massive. We have Catabasis, Voidwalker, Immortal Consequences, and Blood Moon. Blood Moon is very tiny. It's tiny, so that is very nice. But we are going to be moving on to that. And I think some of my predictions for that video, ooh, I think Voidwalker is probably going to be like a 4, 3.5 to 4-star. It's not my normal like vibe because it is like a monster romance, but I have liked this author before and I have already started Voidwalker, so that's a little bit of a cheat already, and it's very well written. So 3.5 to a 4 is my guess. Catabasis I think is probably going to be a DNF just because of my past experience with R.F. Kuang so far. I think Immortal Consequences is either going to be, oh god, I feel like Immortal Consequences is either going to be a 5-star or a DNF. Like it is going to be like one of those because there are 6 perspectives and I am not a fan of that. Then we had, what is it, Blood Moon? Blood Moon I think is probably going to be like between a 3 and a 4 as well. I think that one's going to be like, it's just going to be a fun young adult little fantasy book. So those are my predictions. That is what we're reading. I also just posted on the community tab that there is some announcement coming November 1st that I'm really excited about. That's all I'm going to say about it. It is just an announcement. Very, very excited about it. It is not Patreon. It is not Patreon. It is something completely different for December. You can probably guess potentially what it is. I would love to see guesses. But we may be doing something very fun in December that is just kind of an expansion on something we've done already in December. So I feel like that is plenty of hints for potentially you guys to guess. I'm really excited about it. Also very nervous, but it's gonna be very low-key. Speaking of Patreon, I am planning to start a Patreon or a membership. Still don't know. I've been debating about it for months, but I would like to start it January 2026 is kind of my plan to preload the Patreon with like a bunch of content. That way there's like a ton of stuff there already for you guys to check out if you end up joining it. So still don't know if I want to do a YouTube membership or a Patreon. That is just gonna be fighting with myself for the next couple of months to figure that out because I don't want to do both at first. It's a lot to run all at once because you got to figure out logistics. There's a lot of stuff in the works. A lot of stuff in the works right now. So I'm really excited about it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely let me know down below if you read any of these, if you enjoyed any of these, if you're interested in any of these, and if you have nothing else to say but you want to let me know that you were here. I feel like, let's see, Library at Hellbore we liked, Dance of Lies we liked, we just finished Irresistible, DNF this one. Put a, nope, I don't want to do that. It's always really hard to come up with an emoji. Dance of Lies. Is there a ballerina emoji or a dance? No, there might be a dance one. Like there's a lady like doing like a little salsa, right? Or like the guy doing like disco or something. Do one of those. Do one of the dancing emojis for a Dance of Lies. That is probably my, I like Library of Hellbore a little bit more, but I did love A Dance of Lies. So anyway, make sure to subscribe to miss any future content. I try to put out a bunch of these videos. It's going really well. I do plan to continue this into 2026, which I'm really excited about. It's crazy we're talking about 2026. I probably shouldn't. It's still just October 2025, but my brain is like 4 months ahead to try to get everything done. And definitely make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.